Hello, I'm Sam from LCAProductions.
And I'm Taylor.
Welcome to Science, Psychology and Philosophy.
And today's question is...
What's outside the universe?
Well, Sam, I'll tell you, it's nothing.
Is it though?
Well, I don't know. I didn't do much research for this one at all.
I just accidentally unscrewed part of my pen.
Uh-oh. That's what's outside the universe, a bunch of unscrewed pens.
How weird. Or maybe it's just maybe it's just all that stuff you lose, like pens, socks, shoes, stuff like that. Well, the first step we should think about is, say we wanted to actually find out what was outside the universe, humanity. The first thing, it might be impossible to tell because you'd have to catch up with the edge of the universe if it was expanding. Because eventually, apparently, according to one scientific theory, the universe is expanding and then will eventually contract. One other theory says that it will rip itself in half, and there are a few other theories.
That sounds fun.
But if the first one's true, the universe is expanding and one day will contract, then we'll either be trying to catch up with the edge of the universe, or we'll be flying right into it, coming straight towards us when it's crunching. So, however, the edge of the observable universe is about 4.45 billion light years away. Light years. Billion light years away.
Okay.
And that's just the observable universe, and we don't know how much universe is out there beyond what we can observe.
That takes quite a while to catch up to.
And the universe might not even have an edge. If there's a few theories about the shape of the universe, some say it's like curved, and some say it's flat and endless, and
maybe
some
the
say
Earth isn't flat. Maybe the universe is.
Some say the universe is curved like a ball. So if you were to try and find the edge, you just keep going around and around and around and around to eventually you'd get back to where you started, like the Earth. But also they say like the Earth.
That's what you think.
And also that's why they say there's only a certain portion we can observe, because like the Earth, you can only see around you to the horizon. So that's what they think is the same thing with the observable universe.
I just thought it was like just a space.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into a big empty hall.
Yeah, like just a 3D big area.
Yeah.
That's what I used to think, but apparently, because in the grand scheme of things, the universe is actually very flat. There's not much. It doesn't go very high up and doesn't go very down. Most stuff,
but is it,
like all the cosmos and everything, is just kind of in a big chunk.
Is it expanding?
Well, that's I think.
Then which way is
as
up?
far as
which way is down?
Basically,
space,
you know how people draw the solar system, they draw it as a flat surface. That's essentially what it looks like. Some things might be tilted slightly. That's essentially what the entire, like when you look at the Milky Way, it's practically entirely flat. Obviously, there are some solar systems above and below each other, but in the grand scheme of things, if you were to zoom out to the whole observable universe, it would be kind of flat, just like a little chunk, like a slice of bread. It doesn't go up and down much, but goes horizontally and back and forth.
But which way is it expanding? What, like on the edges?
Outwards, yeah.
Then why? Well, but that's the thing again. Like in space, there's no up.
But again, as far as we can tell, the only reason we know it's expanding, because we can't see the edge, we can just see the observable universe. We can see things are getting further away. Like if you were to put a load of ink on top of milk and then do a droplet of milk, it all moves away.
Yeah.
That's what we can see.
It's like redshift, isn't it?
Yeah.
And blue
and
stuff like
and because there's nothing up and down, we can't see if it's expanding up or down, because there's nothing to look at. So we don't know. We're just looking at blackness, and we're like, oh, we can't tell if it's going up or down.
Well, then if it's like a slice of bread where the height of it is shorter, then why don't you just go?
I don't know if you can.
Because they're talking about we can't catch up with the edge because it's expanding.
I guess it must be expanding up and down then. But the whole idea, so if the Earth is, if the universe is spherical, then it's like the Earth. You can't tell it's. The Earth. You can't actually tell it's spherical, right? You're standing there and you can't tell. You can't see it just dip down, right? You see a horizon, but that's all. Eventually, everything's too small and disappears, right? They think that might be the same idea with the universe. We can't see it curving because the bigger a sphere is, the less you can tell it's curving, unless we went across the universe and put some massive poles up and then compared their shadows like that guy did to prove the Earth was round. So at this moment we don't know whether it's flat or round. So if it is round and we're looking for an edge, we'd be going in the complete wrong direction, and we'd just be going around and around and around forever and ever and ever and ever.
But then surely if you have like a circle or a sphere, sorry, I'm trying to. So like, okay, we'll use the microphone as an example. You listening can't see this. I'm just doing this for Sam. You're inside this. Why would you then? Why would you, if you get towards the edge of that sphere, why would you carry on going around like that? Why wouldn't you just go straight?
Well, it's because
because if you wanted to reach the outside of the universe and you've managed it, you wouldn't go and stay inside the edge. You'd go out.
I can't find the website that I used before.
Yeah.
But so basically, if the universe is a sphere,
yeah,
right, then it'd be like trying to find the edge of the Earth. You won't. You'll just be walking around and around and around and around. And but if it's flat, then that means there is an edge we can catch up with, right?
Sure.
So, but again, it is 45 billion light years away, and it's expanding faster, we think, than the speed of light.
Okay.
So we would have to go faster than the speed of light, which is probably almost fast enough to time travel, probably.
And it's impossible.
Which is
things.
Extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And if
like
we
vessels.
So that's the first part of the mystery, catching up with and then getting over that threshold. But after you've got over the threshold of the edge of the universe, then this is where it gets interesting. What would happen then? Imagine it like all the air inside a balloon.
Yeah.
But the balloon is in space, right? As
and
soon
we're
as
inside that hypothetical balloon.
As soon as the air gets out of the balloon, either from like a little gap or from popping the balloon,
dissipates.
What happens to it? It just it actually spreads out and stuff. But let's come up with a different theory. It's like, imagine a water balloon, an extremely hot furnace. As soon as the water gets out, it evaporates. It's gone. Yeah. You know, that could be us. As soon as we get outside the edge of the universe, we don't know what's out there.
That's what I.
Maybe it might just be.
But then what's that like? Because in the water balloon hypothesis.
Yeah.
That like, so we're in that hypothetical water inside that balloon.
Yeah.
And then there's the balloon itself, so the elastic of the balloon, and then there's the.
Well, the balloon. The elastic of the balloon represents the edge, the threshold. Once you cross over that.
But then,
there is, as far as we're aware, there's no barrier. Edge. There's not like a huge giant wall that's slowly moving backwards as the universe is expanding.
Because edge could also mean like the edge of a desk.
Yeah, well, the edge,
like that kind of edge. So like there's like a plane where everything exists, and then there's like a drop off.
Yeah, it's as far as we're aware, it would be like, There is no giant wall, but again, we don't know what the edge of the universe looks like.
Is there a film?
There might be just a load of
energy.
Weird, crazy, purpley black energy that's constantly expanding and creating more space behind it.
That might be that could be like dark matter.
Or it could just be like when you're blowing up a balloon, it's expanding. You know.
I said dark matter instead of antimatter because I played too much Little Big Planet as a kid.
Oh no, dark matter, dark energy is the force that we assume is opposite to gravity, and that's the thing that's pushing the universe out. Like there's we think there's a stuff called dark energy which is constantly pushing the universe out, and it's stronger than gravity because gravity wants to pull the entire universe together. And at the moment there's a balance between there's more dark energy than there is gravity, so the universe is expanding, but people think that eventually the dark energy is going to deplete from the Big Bang, and then gravity's going to take over and it's going to pull everything back so fast that it'll just big crunch and kind of explode again.
Yeah. I was still thinking that whole antimatter thing where you've got matter, so you have to have that counterpart for nature to be and everything to be truly balanced. Yeah. You've got to have that. So maybe that's what's on the outside.
The opposite to everything.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe that's just like. Sorry, you can carry on with her antimatter thing. Maybe it just mirrors.
Oh, that'd be weird.
It's like I don't know, like if you have a pattern in Adobe Illustrator and you click define pattern and then you click fill with that, and then it repeats itself over and over and over again. If you get to the edge of that universe, you cross the threshold and you're in the same universe, but it's different. There's
a theory, you've probably heard of it, called there are loads of theories surrounding the multiverse and alternate realities. One of them is called the bubble universe theory, something like that. That's a nickname for it. And what means, what it states, is that all the alternate realities, so say you order a pizza and you want to decide whether you want pepperoni on or not, there will be two universes, one where you have pepperoni on and one where you don't, right?
Yeah.
If there is such a thing as a multiverse, right?
Right.
And there are different theories as to how the multiverse works. Some say that it's all the different universes are kind of all lined up, and
Right.
they're all kind of like 2D in a 3D place. You can't get to them. They all vibrate on different frequencies. One of them is called the bubble universe theory, and this states that all the universes are kind of in the same area, and their own little bubbles. Some of them are expanding, some of them might be contracting, just being destroyed, depending on what choices are in each one. So imagine it like a bag of frozen peas, right? In the one pea is the universe that we're living in, and then another pea is the another universe. So in one of them you did get pepperoni.
Except it's not a bag of peas, it's literally
just a load of peas.
A space with infinite peas.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so there's like...
Infinite peas.
There's one pea you would get the pepperoni on a pizza, the other pea you wouldn't, right? And there'd probably be another pea where pizzas aren't even a thing, but anyway. And they're all in the same space. According to this theory, there is depending on what's between universes, you can get out of one and technically fly into another if you had a fast enough spaceship and stuff. Okay. But again, it depends on what's in between the universes / outside our universe.
And what are those bubbles floating in? Is there a universe where that dog is quiet?
So, yeah, it all depends on... So I guess in the bag of frozen peas hypothesis, I guess you could say there's ice between each pea, right? Yeah. So if you were travelling through one pea to another one, you'd have to go through this ice.
So maybe it's just like a layer, or it's just like a thing of like this bedrock where you can't. You have to dig through tunnels to get to the next one.
We don't know, but here's the thing. Everything inside the universe, everything is inside the universe, right? There's apples, there's trees, there's galaxies, and everything. Right?
Unless no one can experience those things.
So
sorry.
It's a reference back to our first episode. Yeah. So if you travel out of the universe, then the stuff that's outside would theoretically be nothing, like literally the purest nothing you can get, because the universe is what contains everything, and space-time is inside the universe, but outside the universe there may not be space-time at all. Yeah. So you might, as soon as you go out there, you might experience, I don't know, might suffocate because there's no oxygen, but then you might not suffocate because there's no time or space, or you might just cease to exist because all your molecules might just disappear and merge with the nothingness or something. Or maybe you disperse like oxygen in space, and you just, every single elementary particle, or the stuff that makes up elementary particles, just disperse across this vast emptiness outside the universe, and you just instantly just die and spread out. Yeah.
Well, like but then you'd like be something in that nothing, which then will make it not nothing.
Yeah. Or it might be like, I can't remember, there's a type of particle, I think, that turns other elementary particles into itself, I think. Okay. Can't remember. I didn't take physics, but you'd have to ask a professional if you want to read into this, people. But I'm pretty sure there is one of the elementary particles, when it interacts with another elementary particle, it turns that into itself. So maybe whatever's outside the universe is like that. Whatever touches it, it turns it into itself. So if you were to break out of the universe, you and your ship, whatever you're in, would instantly disintegrate and turn into the nothing that is nothing.
What if the universe, or if we're going back to the expanding whole that thing, if the universe is expanding into nothing, and nothing can turn something into nothing, why isn't, if the universe is expanding, why isn't the nothing
contracting it or killing it?
Not even that, just like
digesting
cancelling out the expanding whatsoever, because the universe is expanding into the nothing, but then the nothing is cancelling that because it's turning that expansion into...
Don't think of it like the universe is pushing against it. Think of it like when you're blowing up a balloon. When you're blowing up a balloon, it gets bigger and it pushes the air out of the way. But then as soon as you pop the balloon, all the air that's inside becomes the air that's outside. So maybe that's what the universe is like. The universe is expanding, and if you were to come out of it, you would transform from the inside of the universe to the outside, which means you're going from being something to nothing. So maybe you would literally just disappear, and either like oxygen in space or be turned into nothingness. Because, I mean, when I say nothing, here's an interesting thing. This is going to blow your mind.
Oh, here we go.
When I say nothing, I mean the nothing that is nothing. Because saying the word nothing is actually something.
Yeah.
But outside the universe, it could be so pure nothing that saying nothing isn't even enough, because nothing is something.
Stop.
Outside of the universe,
I wasn't prepared for this.
outside of the universe, concepts such as something, nothing, and space and time might not exist, as far as we're aware, because everything is inside the universe. So saying, "Oh, there's nothing outside the universe," isn't even giving it justice enough.
It's so nothing that nothing doesn't begin to describe it.
Exactly, it's the nothing that is like pure nothing. Well, that's what we don't know. Outside,
that's what we theorize.
If you might cross the universe, maybe it's the bubble universe theory, but each universe is so tightly packed that there is no gap between them at all. And as they expand, they kind of push each other away, or as one contracts, they fill the gap. So maybe there is nothing. As soon as you pass that threshold, you go straight through the wall into another parallel universe.
If they're like you said, they're expanding and all pushing each other and expanding in like on top of each other, then that forms itself this big
thing,
globule.
Like if you're blowing
universes.
Like if you're blowing up loads of balloons simultaneously in an
enclosed space.
So tightly that there's no gaps at all between. Obviously,
there will be like some.
Obviously, according to science, things never are touching each other. Yeah. There's always a gap. But what if the bubble universe theory is so tightly packed that literally the wall of one universe, whether it's expanding or contracting or stationary, is connected to the wall of the next, and there's nothing in between them.
Yeah.
Like the molecules of most things, they're right next to each other, most solids. And so maybe if you break through the wall, there is nothing outside the universe. You'll just go straight into another parallel universe. Maybe you'll go into one where humans didn't evolve and birds did, or one where the word potato and apple are swapped around, or maybe it'll
how would you know which universe is like?
Oh, that's another question.
Unless you just have to like live there for several years until you find out the difference.
Well, that's another question for another episode. But so as I said, it's technically almost impossible to tell, because you can't get outside the universe. You can't get fast enough to get outside the universe, and then if you did, you could just be eaten up by nothing, or you might just reappear in another universe. Or maybe it's something even crazier. Maybe our universe is floating around in like a bowl of soup that's owned by some omnipotent god or something.
Or it's like we're in like the film over the eye of like an intergalactic frog.
Or maybe it's like in Men in Black, with our little universes inside a locker of another being in another universe. Or maybe if we go like to the edge of the universe, we're just deleted from the source code that is a giant simulation being run by aliens, and maybe we come
outside the simulation.
Yeah, the CD port opens and we just jump out.
That's how you win the game.
That's how you win, and then you have to kill the creators. Or something. Because have you seen the film Sausage Party?
Yeah.
Do you remember at the end when they go through that weird, they find out that they're being voiced by like people and they go through a portal? Maybe it's like that. Maybe we'll catch up with the edge of the universe and we'll come out of like some USB port of a giant weird computer, or like the exhaust where all the waste comes out or something, and there'll just be some giant 171st dimensional aliens or something, like so more dimensions than we could ever imagine.
Say, like, congratulations, you did it.
And they just go like,
how horrible would it be though if they like said, oh, congratulations, because they obviously speak English because they invented it with a simulation. So they go, congratulations, you win the game. And then they just shut down the game.
Oh my god!
Everything you knew
is just deleted,
gone
but
forever.
But then it begs another question: would you be able to perceive any of that?
Well, no, because if it's 176th or whatever you said dimension, obviously not. But well, possibly though, because
it could be because
it's a simulation.
If we are just in a simulation, then would there be any way of getting out of it? Because if you run a game on your computer, or when you're running your computer, the stuff on your computer doesn't come out unless, like, it can't actually become...
it's data.
Yeah, it's all data. There's no physical thing. Like you can print something off, but that's not like
you're going to be 3D printed.
Yeah, yeah, but you can't like take
176D printed.
You can't press it. You can't like press a button and all of a sudden the YouTube video that you're watching is projected into real life and the people actually standing there made of matter.
Yeah.
Well, at the moment, I doubt that'd be a thing.
It's cloning, Sam. That's not illegal.
But so yeah, if the universe was a simulation and we broke out of it, then would most likely just be deleted.
Yeah, it would just shut down.
It would just go to the blue screen of death, and the 176 dimensional aliens would be like, "Oh snap, something going wrong." Restart the simulation. Yeah, Control Alt Delete, restart.
It's been several billion years.
Well, for them it might have only been like a few minutes. They clicked run simulation. I'm like, oh, gonna take a break. That took a lot of coding. Well, then this is like, oh no, what broke?
the 20th minute of us running this simulation, there was some dudes recording a podcast about like exactly what we're doing.
For all we know, they could have.
Very scary.
They could just spent like what for us is like a few hours coding a load of stuff. They pressed run. I'm like, oh, that took a while. They got up, went to get whatever they have as coffee, and came back, and then it just said error, like error 404 simulation
error code
overflow.
Yeah, error code escape. They found
error underscore infinite loop .ex simulation.
Yeah.
Hello universe simulation has cracked. Again, so this in our first episode, this is our second episode. In our first episode, we came up with not just one answer, but a scale of answers for the question. And because it couldn't be proven or disproven.
This doesn't have a wrong answer again.
Well, this is a similar. It can't be proven or disproven.
Well, yeah. Eventually, if we have the technology to prove it, then obviously it does have a right answer.
Yeah, this one's even...
This one can be more concise.
Yeah, from the first
but
episode
at the
one.
moment, we can only
If we can get faster, if we can catch up with the edge of the universe and break through it, for all we know, it could be an impenetrable wall. We may just hit it and
bounce off.
Hit it and bounce off, or just according to the laws of physics. This is what I read when I was looking up about this. According to the laws of physics, if you caught up with the edge of the universe, you would either bounce off of it, conserving energy, or you would pass through it and you wouldn't be destroyed, because according to the laws of physics, energy cannot be destroyed nor created.
True.
So you wouldn't pass through and just disappear, because that breaks one of the laws of physics. You'd either bounce off, or...
Well, you could explode.
You could, yeah. It could be like...
Because then you would be like... Well, you wouldn't exist anymore, but then all that energy would just dissipate into an explosion.
On this side of the universe, yeah. Maybe it's like... Yeah, or maybe you catch up with it and there's just a load of weird aliens that are like have large pieces of space that they're laying down and welding, and they're like, "Oh, you're not meant to be here. Go back."
There's two like worker aliens, and they see a like tiny little spaceship. They just look at each other like.
One of them gets a massive radio, and they're like, blah 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 blah.
What do we do?
Except they're moving like faster than the speed of light in one direction, but it doesn't even matter.
They're just like they look like blurs.
They're just you catch up with them and like you just put up next to them. And they're like, "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're trying to pass through here." And they're like, "Do you have a badge?" We're like, "What?" You do not like. No, you
don't look like us.
But yeah, for all we know, there could be nothing, like pure nothing on the outside, or there could just be something crazy, but there might not even be
beyond our perception.
Yeah, something beyond our perception, or it might be something
we could be expanding into the fourth dimension. No, the fourth dimension is time. Fifth dimension, sorry.
For all we know. You could, well, there is a fourth dimension. If you're talking in terms of like mathematics, like up, down, forward, left, right, back, forward, and then like the
time, z-axis, the 3D.
Yeah, but for all we know, it could be something that's in the 176th dimension, but when we perceive it, it looks different. It might just,
it looks in a way that only we can perceive.
Yeah, it might not look like just white space. It might look like weird giant shapes floating around or something like that we
colours,
can't.
like nebulous colours. Yeah.
Like when a 3D object passes through a 2D plane, you get like a 2D shape grow like a sphere. You get a circle that grows larger and then shrinks, right? And then when a 3D object passes through a 4D plane, it grows like weirdly. So if we were to go into a 176 dimensional plane, we might just see crazy weird shapes and colours or something instead of just white space. But again, there may not be any way to tell what's outside. I personally think that it's nothing that is pure something.
Yeah.
Nothing that is pure nothing even. So like, it's so much nothing that as soon as you enter it, energy isn't even a thing, so you would just instantly disappear and wouldn't be able to return. Like energy's not a thing, matter's not a thing, and a thing isn't even a thing.
Yeah, because you know the universe is expanding, obviously, because of the redshift and stuff and everything. But then it's like, what is it expanding into? You've got to think about that as well.
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm struggling.
For all we know, we could pass the edge of the universe, and we could just come out onto the blackboard of some omnipotent god's workshop or something. And he'd just be like, "What are you doing? Get back in there!"
Okay.
Just like flicks us back in.
I'm sorry.
Or we might only get a glimpse of nothing before the universe catches up with us. Because if we break out into it, and
we can't stop moving, otherwise the universe will catch back up.
Yeah, but we might not be able to carry on moving because if we stay in there for too long, we might cease to exist. You know, like one of the theories of time travel is that if you go back in time and you stay there for long enough, eventually time catches up and solidifies.
Yeah.
It might be like that. Eventually, the nothing catches up and solidifies.
Because everything that exists is in the universe. So if you're outside the universe, you don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Well, for all we know, there could be another some sort of unknown particle that's nothing, that's classed as nothing, and that's outside the universe. And as the universe expands, that nothing particle is converted into being something. Or it's converted into space, like emptiness, or it's just destroyed and the universe destroys it as it goes along.
Or a vacuum, it could just be
Or maybe outside the universe looks the same as inside. Maybe it just carries on, but the edge is just the ripples from the Big Bang. When the Big Bang occurred and it started creating everything, space and time, it might have not been filling up a space, but it might be just inside something else.
Yeah.
But then there might be an edge to that, or there might not be. Like, imagine it like when you exit our clump of like galaxies and stuff. What's that called? Local group. When you exit our local group, there's a massive gap of space before you get to another local group of galaxies and things. It might just be like that. There's just our universe, and then outside there's just a load of blank space, and it's like blowing up a balloon. The stuff on the inside is the same as the stuff on the outside. It's just contained. So there could just be an empty space where there's no stars or planets or anything. We're just slowly filling it. And maybe there is no edge of the universe. Because when people monitor...
Maybe there is no edge of the universe.
Maybe the universe just carry on.
Everything, like all the stars, all the planets and everything,
just
started out in this
spreading
tiny
out.
little clump and then just slowly spreading out into infinite nothing.
Exactly, yeah. So there will
infinite vacuum of
there will be no edge, and if you were to catch up with the expansion, you'd just be seeing it in your rear view mirror of your spaceship.
You'd literally you'd still be in the vacuum of space, but all the stars and everything would be behind you, and in front of you is just
blackness.
And
there may be no end. I mean, it goes.
That's what I think. There probably is.
There might be an edge to the universe, but there might not. It might just literally go on forever or loop around. Like literally go on forever and ever and ever, like some game that randomly generates terrain forever, and it has like an endless supply of memory.
Yeah.
Like if the universe was a simulation, it just has an endless memory, and when we carry on exploring more terrain past all the stuff that's being spread out from the universe, they just like, oh snap, the memory's getting high, stick another external hard drive on, and then they just carry on. Like, oh snap, someone's moving really fast, and let's just add another hard drive. Or allocate more memory and delete like that other universe or something. But yeah, if there is a way to tell, like, it may be impossible to tell.
Yeah.
And if we can tell, then we'll know. If we can catch up with the universe, we don't know what will happen. We might die, we might cease to exist, we might just carry on into nothingness, or we might find something crazy.
Yeah, possibly. I think because they call it like the edge of the observable universe. Maybe that's just because there is literally like nothing else to observe. There's literally just the black void. that we're slowly filling up space.
I don't know if they've got proof that there's stuff past the edge of the universe, but it's called the edge of the observable universe because everything else is so far away that it would take so long. It takes so long for the light from stars that are outside the observable universe to get to us that the light hasn't got there yet from when humans existed. So or from when even Earth existed. That's how big the universe is. It's so large that at the moment we can only see a portion of it because other stuff is so far away that the light from it hasn't got to us yet. Just think of that just kind of shows you how crazy something is. You know when you see fireworks and they go off and then you hear them slightly after? Imagine it like that. The universe has gone off and exploded, and at the moment we're hearing some of it, but we're still waiting for the rest of it to get to us. So I don't know whether there's some sort of formula or website that will tell you how much more of the observable universe we can see after, whether in 10 years we'll be able to see another 2 feet of the observable universe or something. But we can't just get a massive telescope and zoom in really far away because that's not how it works. The light has to get from the origin to us, and although light travels insanely fast, over 45 billion light years, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's a light year. That's 1 year of
light.
Yeah. That's how it takes light a year to travel over that distance. So it takes light 45 billion years to travel from what we can see so far to now. So when the universe started, or when humans first started monitoring the stars and stuff, all the stuff that we could see was stuff that the light had already reached us from. So in a long time, probably if the universe starts crunching or maybe it slows down its expansion, we might be able to see far enough away that we can see an edge. But we won't know whether it's an edge or whether we're just waiting for more stuff to come back to us or not. But if the big crunch is true, eventually everything will start moving towards each other, and we'll be able to, if we haven't died already, we'll be able to see. We might see some sort of big, huge edge coming towards us, but we probably would have crashed into another planet or something by then. But who knows? If the big crunch is true. Yeah,
I think if I'm still sticking with the theory of the universe started in this space, just a vacuum, and then everything started from one point, and then they slowly just all the stars and all the planets started filling out that a tiny little portion of this infinite space. Then it would just carry on going.
Do you think it has an edge or not?
No.
I like to think that there's the observable universe, the little bit we can see, and then there's the much bigger universe. I like to think it's I like to think of the P theory. Yeah. I like to think that maybe all the alternate reality, all the alternate universes are on the same plane, and you could fly from one of them to the other pretty quickly.
It does sound fun.
But I don't know whether I believe there's something between them or not. But with a bag of frozen peas, imagine a bag of frozen peas where all the peas are so tightly packed there's no gap between them, right? So you could fly from one alternate universe straight into another, and then into another, and into another, right? And they're all in the same area. But then, what's outside the bag of peas? That would be nothing.
Okay.
That would be the outside of not the universe, but that's outside the multiverse.
Yeah, that's what we are. That's another question, though, isn't it? What's outside the multiverse? If we're going by that theory.
If you believe the bubble universe theory, and then you believe this sub-bubble universe theory that we created, where each universe is so tightly packed there's nothing in between, then it just takes you back to this question: what's outside the multiverse, the bag of frozen peas? Then you would say, so when we were talking about what's outside the universe as a single
truly
P,
infinite, if multiple universes are truly infinite, then just more peas.
Well, here's something that's something that's been on my mind for a very long time. Every time someone talks about the multiverse, they say there's infinite universes, infinite realities. I disagree.
Okay.
Because from the dawn of the universe up until now, there have been times when other realities have been created. Like when someone says, I don't want pepperoni on my pizza. Boom, 2 universes are created.
So
one where they
you
get.
think it started.
It would be extremely impossible almost to calculate.
You think it started
but there
with
is,
one?
Yeah, there is a number of.
Oh yeah. No,
there's not an
sense.
infinite because
every time there's like a decision that needs to be made.
Yeah, say you had one universe in the multiverse, and there were 2 people on it, and one of them said, "I'm going to have pepperoni on my pizza." The other one said, "I'm having pineapple." Boom! There's a universe. There's a universe created where the first person doesn't get pepperoni, and the second person doesn't get pineapple. One where first person doesn't get pepperoni, second person does get pineapple. One where, but there would be there's a certain number of outcomes. There's not infinite possibilities, right? If I was to slap you in the face, right? There's an alternate universe where I didn't.
Yeah.
There's an alternate universe where
I hit you back.
you hit me back, but there's not an alternate universe where I didn't slap you in the face because my hand didn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Well, there is an alternate universe, but I'm talking about the only choice that's made is me slapping you in the face, right? So, when I slap you in the face, there's an alternate universe where I didn't, and then there's an alternate universe maybe when you slap me back, and there's an alternate universe probably where I missed or something.
But then what calculates the like set number of things that can happen?
Well, there's only a certain amount of things that can happen. I can't slap you in the face and then you explode, because that depends on something else that happened earlier where your skin became extremely explosive. So if we were in an alternate universe where I'll draw on this piece of paper, but you can't see this.
If we were in an alternate universe where skin was explosive,
it would be very bad. Yeah,
you see what I mean?
But imagine
we're underwater, so it took like where everything's underwater and humans have gills.
So it took me ages to slap you.
Yeah, because of water.
So yeah, imagine this is the universe we're in, and then I'm drawing on paper. So I slap you. And then it creates a branch where different universes can happen. So this one I do slap you, and then there's one where I don't slap you. This is one thing.
There's also one up here where saying
exactly.
There's another.
But when I say there's not an infinite amount, it's because this doesn't go off infinite amount of times. It might branch off up here where I can't slap you because I don't have a hand. And then it might branch off here, or it takes me ages to slap you because we're in water.
But you're branching off from one point. There's also a point up here that's branching off into
exactly.
different things.
But
I'm all talking the branches that there's loads of tons of millions and trillions and.
But not infinite.
No, I know what you
mean.
There
is a number, but when I say it would be really hard to count them, it would be practically impossible to count them.
Yeah.
But when I say there's not an infinite number of alternate universes, because when I slap you in this universe,
we use a different.
Okay, this one's quite simple. Okay,
it doesn't matter.
When I ask for pepperoni on my pizza in this universe, it creates another universe where I don't get pepperoni pizza and I do get pepperoni pizza, but that's it. It doesn't create a universe where the pepperoni has all run out because a mouse broke into the kitchen and ate it all.
Why not?
Because that doesn't come from my choice. That comes from something that happened earlier.
Why does having things have to stem from choices? Because then if humans didn't exist, would there be a multiverse?
Well, not choices, but when something gets to a point where something else can happen, when, like, say, a star explodes, right? Mm. There's another universe where it doesn't explode at that exact second, it explodes a little bit later. But you've got to think of it like the butterfly effect. If I have a row of dominoes, right, they're not going to fall over unless something happens.
Yeah.
So a star is not going to explode at a different time unless something has changed it. Otherwise, they're going to explode at exactly the same time. If I have two light bulbs connected to a switch, if I turn that switch off, they're both going to go off at the same time unless there is a difference between the wires or the light bulbs. If there's no difference and there's nothing that changes the current of electricity, they're going to go off at the same time.
But then there'll be alternate universes where there is differences.
Yeah. So if I ask for pepperoni on my pizza, there's going to be an alternate universe where I get it, and then one where I don't get it, right? But there is obviously going to be an alternate universe where pizza doesn't exist, but that's not going to be based on...
There probably is going to be a universe where the mouse ate all the pepperoni. It doesn't
there is, but it comes from something earlier. That earlier, someone made a choice of leaving the back door open, a mouse snuck in, ate all the pepperoni.
But then there will be a universe...
And there'll be a universe where he didn't shut the back door. And I might be in the one where he didn't shut the back door, therefore I asked for pepperoni pizza on my pizza, therefore I got pepperoni on my pizza. Or I could be in the one where I asked for pepperoni on my pizza,
I
a mouse
understand.
ate it all. Yeah, so when I ask for pepperoni on my pizza, I don't create the universe where the mouse snuck in and ate all the pepperoni. I create the one where I don't get it or I do.
We're using create in a, I guess, colloquial sense. We don't literally create it.
Well, this is another thing.
We cause the timeline to split.
You know, like last Thursdayism?
Yeah.
We don't know whether the universe was created last Thursday. When I say create that universe, at the moment, do you think that there is an infinite amount of universes, or do you think it's growing, where every time someone makes...
I think it's like, it makes sense that there is a number, because it has to have started from something.
But when we make a choice, do you think another universe pops into existence? Or do you think it's already there, where from the point of, like, from the very start of space and time...
Oh, see, now you're thinking...
Is it like fate? So in this universe, it is fate that we're going to make certain choices, because in another universe, it's going to happen differently. Or is that universe created when we make the choice?
So if you're thinking, like... So you say if a choice affects the creation of another... So you think that just like a pea, if we're going to use that analogy again, just pops into existence.
Yeah, does it happen like that, or has the pea always been there?
Or if it's or it could be like another... Like you mentioned earlier, where a universe is 2D and we all exist in like this book of universe pages.
Oh, not the bubble theory.
But then, and where
each one vibrates every
or
molecule
like
vibrates
where one P exists already.
Yeah.
In that case, then there is infinite universes because they already exist. They have to be there for when that thing happens.
Yeah, I'm saying, so if we're sticking with the bubble first theory.
Yeah, let's just stick with that, because that makes a lot of sense for me.
When you make a choice, do you think that the other P or the other universe where you make a different choice already exists and you automatically make the other choice, or does it pop into existence?
Adding a number, adding one
to the number of universes in the...
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
This is kind of a different question, actually, but...
No, it's...
Should we go back to what's outside the...
I want to answer this. I want to decide on an answer for this. So do I think that there are already infinite universes where choices are already destined to happen?
Yeah.
So what we do doesn't really matter. They're just going to happen.
Or as soon as we make the choice, does that define what branch we're on, and then create another branch?
Yeah.
Or the secret hidden third option, where when we make a choice, that defines the universe we're in, and also defines another universe that already existed. But until then, both like Schrodinger's cat. The cat is alive and dead at the same time inside the box.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you open the box, it defines whether it's alive or dead. So, the two universes, one where I slap you and one where I don't slap you, exist at the same time. Yeah. And until I do that, it defines which one we're in.
I think it'll be nice to think that we have free will, but then just like making a decision, like I threw my pen down there. Does that genuinely create an entire new thing?
Yeah.
But then, like, does it create a universe that just instantly pops to the point of like technology and evolution that we are now, or does it literally start an entire new
Does it
universe?
start again and like in like a split second catch up?
That's what the Big Bang was. So someone made a decision. That's why we're in this universe.
Yeah, we don't. When we're talking about this, we say our universe and then another universe, but we could be that other universe. There is no. Is there an original?
How do we know whether we're in the original?
If we're agreeing in the theory that when you make a choice, another universe is created, then that means there is an original universe.
Yeah.
But if we're agreeing in the theory that all the universes are already there, and they're just destined, or they're waiting for someone to make a choice and then there'll be the other one.
Yeah.
Then in that case, there is no original universe. Everything just happened at once.
So going with that second one that you said, that they all exist at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're all running at the same time. If we're gonna
like code.
Yeah, and they're all running at the same time, just with every single statistical probability of,
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you say A, in another one you say B.
Or
like,
and another one you say A and someone screams. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
You know, yeah.
Or another one you don't say because you can't talk.
Yeah.
Because of something that happened ages
ago. There's another one where
because you got to think it's not just like I slap you or don't slap you. It's I slap you or don't slap you, or I couldn't slap you in the first place because everyone's covered in water and I don't have hands, or because everyone's covered in water and I don't have hands.
Or there's another one where humans
aren't a real thing. And so there's
a universe where you don't slap me. It
seems like there's an infinite number. It seems like there's an extremely infinite number of possibilities. But there is actually a number. You can't work it out because it's practically impossible.
So do you think that...
But there is a number. It's like saying, there's an impossible... You can't work out how many things there can be in the universe. Yeah. But Vsauce made a video on the maximum number of things that can be in the universe.
Oh.
Have you not seen? It's an old one.
Oh, it must be. I haven't seen it then.
I think I've actually got it written down somewhere.
On one of those post-it notes.
On one of these many post-it notes. I think I wrote down the maximum number of... Oh, here we go.
Oh, perfect.
It's so 1.458 times 10 to the 227.
That's a lot.
That's the limit to how many thoughts there could ever be. Because I think what Vsauce did is they swapped out the entirety of the observable universe for brain tissue and then worked out how many thoughts that could generate over the entire history of the universe. And then they added that to 10 to the power of 183, which is the smallest possible physical things that fit into the observable universe.
Okay.
So there's an infinite amount of how much stuff is inside the universe. Therefore, there's not an infinite. Yeah, an infinite amount. Not infinite. Finite. Sorry. There's a finite amount of how many things there can be in the observable universe, and therefore the universe. Right. Which means there is a finite amount of choices that can happen to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not unlimited. Imagine there was only one planet, and it was completely flat, and there was one person on it, right? And he clapped his hands, right? So then there would be an alternate universe where he didn't, okay? And then he walked forward and tripped over. So now there's an alternate universe where he didn't clap his hands, didn't walk forward, one where he did walk forward, didn't clap his hands, one where... So it's not infinite. It's like 10 2 to the power of something, or however many choices to the power of however many outcomes, or whatever it is.
But then you've got to think...
It's probably a formula.
There's going to be so many things. If there's just a person standing in a plane Plane, just like a straight blank...
Yeah, it's
sheet.
Really... It would be very hard to work out.
There's so many things that they could do. They could just fall over. Yeah. They could run
obviously,
in the opposite direction.
It's going to be a very large number.
Yeah.
But there is not an infinite amount of universes in the multiverse.
And it's...
So, going back to this...
What's outside the universe?
So, there is not an infinite amount of universes in the multiverse. Therefore, there is not an infinite amount of peas in this bag. Okay? Right. Therefore, you can encase it in a bag. Obviously, you can't put infinite something in a bag because it will just constantly fill it up and overflow. But if you've got 100 peas, you can put them in a bag. And if they're all packed close together, so there's no space between them, then there's the question of what's outside the bag, which is
more bags,
which is the same as what's outside a single universe if the multiverse theory is not true. Obviously,
yeah.
It's the same question. What's outside everything? What's outside the multiverse, or what's outside the universe? If there's a multiverse outside the universe, so it goes in steps, right? If we can catch up, well, we're not talking about what it would look like, but we're going with the theory of the bubbleverse. We're going with the theory that there's not an infinite amount, and we're going with the theory that they're tightly close together, and we're going with the theory that it's not like they're not expanding and like you said, taking up space that's the same as inside, but they're expanding and pushing away something that's outside, or filling something that's outside. So now the question is, what is outside?
Well, could it... because, you know... how you were saying there's going to be a universe and then another universe next to it.
Yeah.
And then, so why can't there be and then more universes until the bag's full, whatever? Why isn't there another multiverse bag next to that one?
Or containing like another universe or something.
No, because that universe would be in our. But what would be inside that bag if there's
like a multiverse? So
maybe if that bag. No, I'm thinking too literal. I'm thinking too literally, like a bag of peas. Like
for all we know, right? There could be, forgetting the multiverse idea. Let's just say that there's only one universe. There could be another universe that was created either simultaneously or a bit after, with different planets in, still following the same laws of physics, just a bit away from ours. And then if they might expand and one day connect and form a bigger universe, or they could expand and just kind of hit each other and like expanding two balloons and just stay there. So for all we know, there might be a vast gap between us of nothingness, but then there could be another universe, like a pea and a carrot. They're both a universe, but they're different. Or maybe a pea and then a garden pea. They're both the same, but they're both universes, but they've got different stuff. Like it could follow all the same laws. Yeah, it could follow all the same laws of of physics and stuff, but just different planets, different stars, different galaxies and things. Like you've got two houses that are built with the same structure, but they have different interiors because different people live there, right? So two universes got the same shape, maybe one smaller than the other.
Thinking in like a computer file naming kind of way, we're in universe bag _1, where we've got a set of things, and we've got like a set of.
We've got like
rules and
Milky
things.
Way, a folder called Milky Way Galaxy, and we've got like local. That's inside a folder that's called Local Group, and that's inside the big folder that says Universe
we've got
1.
The human race.jpg.
Yeah.
And so then we'll be in another. There'll be another multiverse called Multiverse _2.
Yeah. So if there is one universe, if there's a universe and therefore a whole bag of all its multiverses, there might be right next to it peas stacked up in a shopping.
No. Do you know what it probably is? It's within a bigger bag of what possibilities would happen when the Big Bang first went off.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's just like a complete random combustion.
But then technically, when the Big Bang went off, do you think that the different outcomes of the Big Bang would create multiverses of the same universe, or would they create different universes that would then create different multiverses?
The second one.
Why wouldn't it be the first one? Why wouldn't it be Big Bang and then universe this one, universe this one, universe... I'm
because
drawing out,
the Big Bang
and then this is where we live.
Yeah, the Big Bang was just a completely random combustion.
Well, as far as we know.
Well, yeah.
It could have been more organised than we thought. It's like when you add bicarbonate of soda to vinegar, it's going to froth up and foam over. But if you know...
But it's got a different arrangement of bubbles. The bubbles won't form in the exact same way every time.
Well, if you could monitor every single aspect of the room, the heat, the temperature, the molecules inside the vinegar and the molecules inside the bicarbonate, then you can work out how many different outcomes there are.
But it's
there might not be an infinite amount. It might just be a very large number.
You know, like the elephant toothpaste.
Yes.
Thing where you put some chemicals in a bottle and then it shoots out and then it will shoot out, but then you don't know which way it will fold and which way it will fall. That's basically what I'm saying.
But it's not infinite. It's not infinite.
There is a limited way, amount of ways that
humans have a tendency to. Instead of say that it's a big number, they say it's infinite.
That's what I'm saying is that there is a Big Bang, but then there is that creates multiple pathways of
not more universes in one multiverse, but different universes that have their own multiverses. But then
that's what I'm thinking.
So the entire cosmos has there's
one pathway where I'm going to draw. So there's Big Bang there.
Yeah.
There's one pathway. We're just going to pick two pathways. There's one
Yeah.
pathway that happens, and there's another pathway that happens.
Yeah.
There's millions and billions or whatever of.
And then we're living in one of these.
We're here. That's the point where, like, Abraham Lincoln got shot in the theatre.
Okay.
This is our one. This is the one we're on. And then maybe here, this is the one where plant life has just taken over the world, you know.
So technically, they
because
are...
this could have an entirely different set of physical rules.
Yeah.
Because this, if we're going to go back to the elephant toothpaste, R1 is where the substance reacted and it shot out of the bottle and it landed this way.
Yeah.
It landed over to the right, whereas that one, it shot out of the bottle and it landed this way, resulting in an entire different set of rules of physics.
Yeah.
Evolution. They're not.
Well, again, that's the same thing as if you order a pizza and you get pepperoni on it, or you don't.
Yeah.
It's two different universes based on created based on.
But before the Big Bang, there was absolutely nothing. well, so we think. But if we're going on that thing where there is literally nothing, then there has to be something that started that. You know what I mean? There can only be, one thing to start it, and then.
So you're saying the different ways the Big Bang could have exploded, which there is a finite amount of.
Yeah.
Didn't create alternate universes. It created just multiple universes that weren't like cosmically connected.
Yeah. And then they get their own set of multiverses to themselves. That's what. So that stemmed from the question, like, what's outside the multiverse? I just think different multiverses that came from the Big Bang.
Yeah, it could be like the frozen isle. There's just many bags of peas.
Do you think there's an alternate multiverse or whatever where the Big Bang didn't happen? That's probably what's outside.
Well,
the
multiverse. every single possibility.
So what's outside?
There's when someone says, "Oh, that's impossible," you can go, "There's an alternate universe where it's happened already." So
what? So maybe that's what's outside the multiverse.
Is what?
Where nothing ever happened.
Something. There's a universe for everything.
Yeah.
Right. So. But the question is, if there's a universe for everything, a universe where we're underwater, a universe where plants took over, then why would there be...
True, yeah.
Why would there be different bags of multiverses if every single one of them is in one bag already?
I guess just because they're quite similar doesn't mean...
Imagine it like a pick-a-mix, right? Each different sweet on the pick-a-mix is a different possible outcome, and there's only a finite amount of them. So you can only pick different... You can only...
But that's the thing, though, because if one pick-and-mix cup is a multiverse and it's got a bunch of different universes in it, that one can have like a Percy Pig in it, but then so can this one. But that doesn't mean that. But if we're going
by the theory that in one multiverse every single possibility is true, then it's not like they have different stuff in it. It's every single pot has one of each thing in it. One of each possibility. Therefore, all the pots contain the same stuff.
Well, maybe there is like a finite amount of peas. If we're going back to the pea in the bag thing.
Yeah.
And there's one bag with that one and that one and that one and until whatever, and then there's another bag where there goes that one, that one, that one, that one. Maybe.
What do you mean?
Well, if we got like we're mixing the pick and mix thing with the bag of peas thing. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, let's go back to the question.
What's outside the universe? Well, we kind of wanted to go with...
We should probably wrap this up because I think we've came up with an answer now, basically. Yeah. What's outside the universe? A, might be impossible to tell. First things first.
We have a spectrum of answers again.
Yeah, ranging from nothing, like the pure nothing... Oh, actually, no. Even before that. Ranging from just more universe to that the stars and stuff hasn't spread out until yet. There is no edge. Then moving up to...
Sorry, I apologise.
That's my phone. Oh,
no,
dear.
It is mine. Oh, it is your...
So yeah, so it starts with there's more universe. There's the stars and stuff hasn't filled and it goes on forever.
Yeah.
And it moves along to there is an edge where the universe is expanding, and outside that edge is pure nothing.
Pure nothing, right.
Then it moves on to there is at the outside of the it moves on to the Bubbleverse theory, and that they're all so tightly compact that as soon as you break out, you move into an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Then it moves on to
recap.
There's a gap between each alternate universe filled by nothing.
Yeah.
Then it moves on to there's a multiverse which is a frozen bag of peas, and they're all so tightly packed there's no gaps. And then the question is what's outside the bag, in which case the spectrum kind of repeats in a way.
Yeah.
And
it can just
then it moves on to
what's outside
then it moves on to there's multiple bags of peas where right back at the very start a different universe was created,
right,
maybe. But then it also there's another one, I don't know where this would come in, I think we kind of missed this one out at the start of the spectrum, where there's no multiverse, or the multiverse doesn't follow the Bubbleverse theory, but there's one universe and then there's another universe that's ever so slightly different but still follows the same laws of physics, and they're in the same space.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing between them. And then there's also the answer that there's just one multiverse and then outside it there's nothing, or one universe when next to it is another bag of peas. So if you somehow broke through the edge of the multiverse, you would land in the next multiverse where the base universe that it started from is different.
Right.
But then it begs the question, what's outside of all those multiverses, and that would just be nothing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would just be endless.
Maybe again the spectrum repeats itself.
Yeah.
And outside that, again, it repeats on.
And then it just goes, and then eventually you realise,
who knows,
so
who knows?
To answer the question, what's outside the universe, it depends on what you believe. Unless in the future, when you're listening to this video in like maybe 100 years...
6004.
Yeah, if you're listening to this video and you're like, gosh, this is from years ago, I'm surprised I can still understand 2017 English, then... And you know what's outside the universe, then good on you. Did we get it right? Send a message back in time from the future.
Leave a comment.
So yeah, I think that rounds up this episode.
If you're not in the future, however, and you're in 2017, why don't you leave a comment saying what you believe?
On what you think.
Whether or not we changed your mind on anything.
Or have we missed a possible answer out?
That'll be interesting to hear if we missed anything. Yeah.
And I think that's the end of this episode.
Wow, 1 hour and 2 minutes. Well done.
Nice. These answers are 50% our opinion and 50% science, psychology and philosophy facts.
So please take them with a pinch of salt.
And maybe try to come up with your own answers.
We'd love to hear what you think, so get in touch.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment below.
If you're watching this on Twitter, send one of us a message either at ProductionsLCA or Inkydoodle4.
Or if you're watching on the LCAProductions website, go to the contact page to send us an email.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.